This is Jeremy from Brew & Blooms. I'm here to help you grow better plants. Let's get prepared. Glove up. So if I'm going to the trouble to glove up, that means I'm going to the trouble to use a brand new clean scalpel. So we're going to go through. The process is pretty simple to take clones. We're going to find a viable place to take the cutting off the plant. We're going to take our fresh clean scalpel. We're going to dip that cutting in some Clone-X gel, and then we're going to put it in our starter plug that was soaked in Clone-X solution. We've got all of the tools ready to take our clones. We're going to pick our clones. So when we look at a plant, what we're really looking for, bare bones minimum, is 3 to 4 nodes or 3 to 4 branches that we're going to take that cutting from. Then we also want to look at, is the stem woody or is it soft? Traditionally soft stemmed plants like this guy, that newer growth, are going to root faster than some of the older growth. But ultimately, when we look at our plant and decide how it should look when it's getting ready to flower, is also going to help determine where we're going to take our clones from. So if we get down in here, I know that these branches are not going to get nearly enough sunlight to produce beautiful fruits like I would like. So instead of leaving those branches to take nutrients from the soil but not produce the kind of flowers that I want, I'm just going to remove it. Tomato plants in particular are extremely easy to root, so I'm not too worried about issues of it being a woody stem, because it really isn't woody. Now, if we were taking a clone off of a cannabis plant or for a cannabis plant, we would have to consider how woody that lower stem may or may not be. So now we're going to take our clean scalpel, so that way we don't introduce any potential viruses to the plant as we take the cutting. We're going to count down our nodes or our branches. So there's 1 branch, 2 branch, 3 branch, 4. That takes care of our rule of thumb about not taking a clone that's less than 3 or 4 branches. This one happens to be several branches. So there we take our clone at a 45-degree angle. We're going to remove these couple branches that are very low. We're going to get ourselves our cloning gel and lather that up in some gel. Since we know that we're going to use this entire packet when we do these clones, I don't have a problem of actually sticking it in the container of gel. But normally, if we were to use a larger container, we would not want to do it like this. We would pour out gel onto a little tray and then dab up the stem with your cloning gel. So that's pretty covered. We're going to take this guy. We're going to take our little starter plug and slide it in there. See how some of that gel slid off as we put it in there? That's not a major malfunction. We just got to watch to make sure that we're not growing a bunch of roots above the starter plug. So now we've got starter plug, clone, or clipping at this point in time, sitting in our container. We'll take it and put it in our little impromptu tray. And so now that we've got the clone, we've got our humidity dome, we've got a little tray to hold some water underneath the clone. It's not that we need the clone sitting in water, we just want that extra bit of standing water to help the humidity level in the air. We're also going to cheat a little bit and use a spray bottle with just some good pH balanced water, about 5.6 to 5.8 pH when we're cloning. We want to be on the low side. We're going to take our little guy here, put a little mist on there, so that way there's moisture on the leaves. We're going to spray a little bit of moisture inside of our gallon bag to make sure that we've got high humidity. Then we're going to set it over there Put it in a little bit of light, and every so often verify that we've got a little bit of condensation in the bag so that we know that humidity is high. We're going to keep the humidity extremely high for 3 to 5 days. When I say extremely high, I'm talking about 70 to 85% humidity. After those first few days, we're going to slowly start to lower the humidity so that those plants want to start to grow roots to get their moisture, not so much getting the moisture through the leaves. After 10 days or so, we should expect to start to see white roots coming out of that starter plug. If we don't see white roots starting to come out of that starter plug in about 14 days, I'm going to start to get concerned as to what is going on. Then we're going to go back and look at the conditions to make a plant root. What's the humidity? Have we kept the humidity high in the beginning and slowly lowered it? Is the pH proper for the nutrient solution? Is it in that 5.5, 5.6 to about 5.8, 5.9 range? Was the plant happy, healthy, and strong that you took the cutting from? That's one of the most important things that a lot of people forget about. If you've got a sad plant, it's going to make sad. Right here, case in point, this plant or this branch could potentially become a clone, and actually we're going to make it a clone. So just like we were doing before, 1 branch, 2 branch, 3 branch, 4 branch, 5 branches, 6 branches, or 6 nodes. So that's more than enough. We pop that bottom one off, pop that one off, pop that one off. We leave enough foliage to sustain some photosynthesis to grow roots, but now we've got several locations for the roots to come out of. And here on this tomato plant, if you notice, those little white, what I like to call pimples, are the beginnings of where a root's going to easily pop out. So this tomato was just begging for clones to be taken from it. So now we're going to dip it in our gel. So now, again, since we're using the entire package, we can just take it right out of the package. Normally we would put the gel on a plate, dip the plant in the gel sitting on a plate. But like I said, since we're able to use all of this, we're going to cover that entire stem. Now this clone is not going to be put into a starter plug, but it's going to be put into an aeroponic cloning machine. So the biggest difference that we have to think about when we do an aeroponic cloning machine versus our starter plugs, this is all going to get washed off if I put it right in that aeroponic machine. So I want to give it a little bit of time to soak in. All of those open wounds we have to make sure are covered with our gel. Otherwise we can potentially have more issues by letting it stay exposed to air that we don't want to. So now this is an aeroponic cloner. This happens to be a turbo cloner. They all kind of work on the same principle. We've got water in the bottom reservoir spraying up onto all of the stems of the plants. So if you noticed, still got that tomato all gelled up, sucking in some of that rooting hormone. Now some people will like to cut the tips of the leaves. That gets down to more of a personal preference. It all kind of depends on the plant also. We just got to make sure that that humidity gets absorbed by the plant. So now we're going to take the neoprene sleeve. We're going to take out a neoprene sleeve and slide our clone in there. So now you can see water's already hitting the stalk, starting to slowly rinse off some of that rooting hormone, but it didn't get washed off completely. It's still on there. That's part of the beauty of using a gel versus a powder or a liquid. It will stay on there for a little bit. So if we've got the conditions inside of our cloning machine proper, within a week or so, we should start to see something like this. So these, if you notice, are all of the fresh roots that are just starting to come out. This particular stalk did not push roots out one of the spots where a branch was, but it chose to spit them out more along the normal stalk. Without that rooting hormone, you probably wouldn't see nearly as much growth this fast. And that, my friends, is an aeroponic cloned plant. Have yourself a healthy and happy, strong plant from beginning to end.